So thanks for the intro. Buying any system for a business always kind of reminds me of dating. I mean, love is nice, really nice, but you never really know what you're getting into until you've moved in together, had kids, and are faced with real-life issues that you really couldn't have foreseen. When I first started looking for a TMS, I was looking for the perfect match. I imagined it would do everything. I mean, why wouldn't there be a system that can help me manage projects and a client database and do the dishes? Well, eventually I let go of all of my expectations and bought myself a dishwasher. For everything else, I have Plunet. We've been working with Plunet since 2016, and it's a true love story. Plunet was a big step for us. And at the time, we were not prepared to make any more software purchases, so we really wanted to get the most out of it. I'm happy to say that there's nothing that I needed to do so far with Plunet that I wasn't able to. So over the next 20 minutes, I'll show you how Plunet changed our lives and our relationships with our customers. So let me take you through a quick run of some of our relationship building routines. I'm sure you'll find some inspiration. We'll talk about when the client turns old, when they were last seen. We'll talk about tasks and additional document templates, as well as text modules and a little bit about resource relationships. For every feature, I'll also display where it is in the system so you can write it down, and how to activate it if it needs to be activated. But don't worry about that too much. You can always catch me later and ask. Details matter, and we document everything. This is literally one of the first things that every trainee will hear from me dozens of times over their first week on the job. In this day and age, and especially now with HR issues that we're all dealing with, people move around, information gets lost, and at the end of the day, people do business with other people, not with other businesses. Any lost connection could mean a lot for a bottom line. So we document everything in order to improve our bottom line. What do I mean by everything, you ask? Well, the first step in improving your customer relationship is knowing it. We use various Plunet features such as the memo section, text modules, and properties, as well as tasks to document information. Who's this client? What do they do? How did they end up in our system? What's their growth potential? What's important to them? Is it price? Is it quantity? Is it quality? Do we have any other connections to this company? What are their hobbies? Do they have kids? What's their best method of communication? We document everything so that we can make the most out of every connection. Like many other smaller LSPs, our PMs are both on the sales side and the operations side. So, like everyone else at this sensitive time, we've also experienced high turnovers. And we don't want to lose any time or information. So if somebody's already done the research on a client, we want them to document it so that the other person saves time. Now, customers sometimes disappear for various reasons. It could have been a change of strategy or personnel, dissatisfaction with work we've done in the past. There could have been an in-house translator hired or changes in the budget, or maybe the relationship just wasn't strong enough to make them think of us at the right time. To make sure we always keep in touch, whenever a client turns old in Plunet, the PM or account manager is going to receive an email reminder. And as soon as we receive that email, we do a quick checkup in our system, and we see what we know, and we give them a call. If you don't have this set up yet, you'll want to go to Admin, Settings, Contacts. We have the inactive notification set up for 3-month intervals, but you can set this up according to your needs and customers. Notice that the active or inactive status only refers to orders, not quotes. You'll also need to set up the email notification. To do this, you'll go to Admin, Settings, Admin, Document Templates, Email. You'll choose the right email and select Send Email automatically. So the next feature I want to show you is a tiny one that we requested to tweak in the system as we were implementing it. And the amazing guys at Plunet were nice enough to agree. This really helps us prepare for that follow-up call. We start by going to the customer profile and reading up any information we have in the memo or in the tasks. And then we click the communication settings wheel. Here, if we scroll down, we can tell the very basics of our relationship with the client. Not only when the first and last orders were, which will let us know whether this is a returning client or a fairly new one, but also, and this was our little tweak, when their last quote was. This gives us an initial indication on whether they just haven't been in touch for a while, or maybe there was an issue with the last quote. Now when I call the customer, I can discuss that relevant information really easily. I mean, yes, I could status report quotes, but we're all about getting the most out of every click, right? So let's say I called, and this client, Paul Leiter, he was happy to hear from me. He told me about his upcoming trip to Berlin and mentioned that he's so excited about the Plunet Summit. Kind of strange, because I haven't seen him around. I'm sure he's somewhere around here. Anyway, he said he really doesn't have anything on the table right now, but later this year he's planning a big localization iteration for Spanish, German, and Swahili. Amazing. So here's where tasks start to come in. We document everything. Have I mentioned? I'll be able to start the conversation by asking how the trip was and share my experience from Berlin. I'll also be able to ask about the Swahili specifically instead of saying something random like, didn't you say there was some project coming up? We find this especially useful for sales if there have been HR changes on the client side, and sometimes people don't really know what's going on. Now I can set up a reminder for myself to call again when I get back from Berlin. Did you know that Plunet can send you email reminders about tasks? This is how. You'll want to go to Admin, Miscellaneous Task Types, and then click Send Email Reminder for every task type for which you want to get a notification. While we use tasks a lot for documentation and follow-up reminders, this is really only the beginning. Let's talk some more about some of the other ways we use tasks. So some tasks are quite long-term, like credit card expiration dates or contract renewals. So in order to make sure that we don't miss any of these dates, we want to use tasks to set them up for the future, even if the future is really far ahead. And you know those feedback emails that you can send from Plunet? Does anybody use them? Well, we do. And since it's not always the right thing to send a feedback email on the same day as project delivery, we also use tasks to make sure that we remember to send that feedback email at the right time. In fact, we found that people will respond more freely and honestly if it's not the PM, but someone else who sends that feedback email. So part of the PM's delivery checklist is to create that task for another user for whenever they think is best. We might also use tasks to get our office manager to set up a meeting with the customer. So to set this up, go to Admin, Miscellaneous Task Types. Here you can set up both the names for the tasks and whether you want to activate email notifications for each. Options. Who doesn't like options? If you've ever gone on a date or even packed for a conference, then you know how important options are. As an all-inclusive LSP, we offer so many services, from translation to transcreation to DTP, and these are just the standard services, without mentioning our expertise in the food industry and other services that require really unique workflows. So let's take a basic example of quote options that I'm sure you're familiar with. Some clients require translation only, and some require TEP, and some need additional services such as DTP. Due to local market requirements, we normally must provide the T-only option to most of our customers, but for marketing and upsell purposes, we do also want to showcase the TEP at the same time. While the basic Plunet template, I don't know if you can see this, but the basic Plunet template does allow for more than one option to be displayed. The default setting is to show them one under the other in separate tables. We found it not as effective as we wanted it to be because it required customers to both scroll and read, and customers really don't like to read words. Have you noticed? So what would happen is that they would see the first, normally cheapest option and go for that, or they would see all the options and just get really confused. We were looking for a way that would allow us to showcase the right information in a very accessible, visual way at the same time each time. We realized we needed more templates. Templates allow us not only to offer but explain more than one service at a time without confusing our customers. But more templates meant more template sets, and that meant having to remember which template is stored where. Understanding it would be really way too cumbersome to keep creating more and more template sets, we discovered the use of additional document templates. This is a little-known feature that allows you to add more templates without creating an entire template set. The way we went about solving the quote issue is by creating templates that allow us to showcase both options, and sometimes even 3 options, side by side. So here you'll see the translation only and the TEP option. This is what it looks like with 3 options. So 1 linguist, 2 linguists, and then the DTP. And we even got it to work with the Hebrew right-to-left version, which took quite a bit of my time and Simona's. But I'm here to testify that it's not only possible, but the result was definitely worth it. TEP and other options have been selling a lot more, and we're spending a lot less time on the phone selling them since we made these quote template adjustments. We now have 4 templates for each of our 2 template sets, and we use them all on a daily basis. Now, quotes is where we use additional document templates the most, but we've also used them for other stuff such as specific formats that customers may require on an invoice or PO. To implement additional document templates, first you're going to want to select the system areas that you'd like the feature to work within, and then create the new templates and upload the correct template set as, let's say, additional 1 English, additional 2 English, and additional 3 English. After activation, the templates are going to appear right on your quotes page. All right, so one more feature that helps us boost our sales is text modules. I know you all use them, I'm sure. We use them for so many things. We use them to get info from our website through our API and to indicate internal information about customers, resources, invoices, and orders. I could do really an entire presentation about the different ways that we use text modules. They're really versatile. You'll find them under Admin, Document Templates, Text Modules. One of my favorite ways that we use them is for reusing snippets of text that we've already written. So let's take quotes, for example. The key is always in the small print, right? And the small print will change in some cases from one customer to another or one project to the next. We have all of that small print, so every single bullet you see up there, we have all of them saved as text modules. And when we're creating a quote, we simply select the correct options in Plunet, and voila. This not only saves PMs from having to rewrite the same thing over and over again, it saves them from making silly mistakes. All right, let's get back to keeping in touch. Many of our conversations with customers will end with the words, "Why don't you email me some information and I'll pass that around the company?" You've heard that, right? Well, the basic email template serves us really well. There are so many cases where we want to add specific paragraphs that refer to ongoing work with that customer or other types of information such as specific areas of expertise that may be relevant to that sale. To save time and to make sure that we're all keeping in line with the Zikit brand guidelines and using the same marketing language, we've set up the text modules for these snippets, and they can be added not only to quotes, but to email templates as well. So while to the customer it looks like we've put a lot of effort into writing a really personalized email, in fact, it's all in the modules. Now, one of my favorite pieces of information to collect is how the customer reached us. I'm sure you've noticed that a deal is more likely to close if the customer reaches you through a personal or customer reference, as opposed to customers that find you online. And in any case, if I notice that a customer has referred more than a few others, I might want to call them up and say thanks, or even send them flowers. Now, each client profile in our system includes the referral type and the referral name. This information is passed on to orders and quotes, so that I can periodically create reports that help me say thanks and make decisions on marketing budgets. All right, so one last feature I want to talk about is also about relationships, but this time about resource relationships. When we first implemented Plunet, we had many unhappy vendors. They did not like having to get used to a new system. They did not like having to learn something new, and they really didn't like feeling like they were working for a system instead of working for a company with humans. So many LSPs and PMs make the mistake of sending just those automated email requests and never personally reaching out to vendors. We decided to make that a priority because without excellent vendors, we really can't provide excellent service. Just like with customers, we realized that we needed to improve our relationships. Some of the things we did to improve relationships with vendors included documenting our conversations with them, rewriting all of our request email templates to sound more human, and making sure to always reply to every single email that they send, even if it was just a translator declining a job. This helped a lot. At the end of the day, it's all about partnership. So if one of our resources has informed us that they'll be on vacation, we immediately document that on Plunet. I mean, nobody likes to receive 30 request emails when they're sitting on the beach in Aruba. And if one PM doesn't indicate that vacation time on Plunet, then all other PMs are going to be sending requests like crazy, right? And that's just annoying. So to do this in the resource profile, you'll click Add Absence on the right-hand side under the Memo section. Then simply choose the reason, add a memo, and mark the dates. When PMs go to the resource search, they'll find the resource blocked off in a different color. Want to take it to the next level? Set up a task and ask them how they enjoyed their vacation.